Now, folks, I want to pick up on a story that we touched on yesterday, and here's why. Because the government has set out plans to regulate artificial intelligence, AI, with new guidelines on responsible use. But what is responsible use? Describing it as one of the technologies of tomorrow, the government says that AI contributed $3.5 billion to the UK economy last year. But critics fear the rapid growth of AI could threaten jobs or be used for malicious purposes.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it shivers and cracks.
So that's Nick Cave. Do you care if it's the real Nick Cave or an AI Nick Cave? That's definitely Nick Cave. But in January of this year, he responded to a Chat GPT song written in the style, his own style, by saying, "This song sucks." Singer-songwriter went on to dissect the lyrics produced by the popular chatbot, saying this is a grotesque mockery of what it is to be human. So you see where we're going, folks. Where are we? Why has the UK ruled out a new regulator for artificial intelligence? Professor Kevin Curran is Professor of Cybersecurity at the University of Ulster at Magee. 2 days in a row, Kevin, but important stuff. We were talking about this only yesterday in our technology slot. Kevin, when you read that, I mean, have you concerns? I mean, I would have thought such modernity should be regulated.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, regulations stop us. You know, allows us to get on airplanes safely, and for instance, to go to nightclubs and the exit doors aren't locked. Like you remember the Stardust years ago. So regulations help keep the public safe, keep us in tune. But in my 38 years of owning a computer, I haven't seen anything as dramatic as of late with this Chat GPT and the similar large language models again, artificial intelligence, and then combined with all the other features again, like drone warfare and everything else. It's really taken off. I mean, this Chat GPT, you can get it to code. You can give it a picture of what you would like your interface to look like, and it'll produce code for you. It can generate images. You can describe an image saying, give me a professor sitting with one leg, wearing a red hat with one ear, sipping a Coke with an elephant, and it will draw you that image.
And why does that matter?
Okay, so that's okay. This is just the power of it. Like you're seeing there with the sampling. Now we can't trust people's voice because generative AI has got so good that you just have to give a few seconds of someone's voice and it's able then to sample and to proceed, and you can just type and it will do it. It can generate art, it can generate music, but also it's so dangerous. Now what we have is AI making rules and decisions again. It's like a black box. So sometimes you're going for loans, for instance, again. You can have artificial intelligence running that algorithm, of course, but it's all to do with the training set it gets. And it can be biased against certain subsets of society.
And if you were out to get President Biden or Mr. Sunak or whatever, you can now create a Rishi Sunak that sounds like Rishi Sunak and have him saying stuff that Rishi Sunak, and for real, would never say, or any politician or any public figure.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives a powerful tool for disinformation for the future as well. And a lot of people will be reading gobbledygook articles which are generated by AI, which don't...
You can kind of spot them, though. I can spot them on YouTube. The language, the pronunciation can be wrong. I can kind of spot them, but maybe not in 10 years. We will be able to, they'll get better and better.
Again, so we need transparency again, because Amazon, for instance, had an AI, for instance, in their recruitment software as well, but it was biased against women. It didn't think that women could do tech roles. So again, what we need is transparency. We need a framework as well to be able to regulate AI as well, because again, with warfare, again, that's an obvious one where you think, okay, that because drones could be sent to attack people, for instance, as well, and depending on their skin color, whatever else, so you can have targeted attacks as well. So we have to have regulations in place.
Well, yeah, it's about that, isn't it? People are talking about chatbots being able to understand questions and respond with human-like answers. Anyway, there's a white paper, importantly, from the Department of Science in the UK, rules for general purpose AI, the systems that can be used for different purposes, and all the rest. But there's also this thing about, they're saying about huge concerns in the workforce that, you could be Luddite about this, Kevin. I'm sure these questions were asked at the dawning of the Industrial Revolution, that they're saying now that the artificial intelligence beings will do a lot of the work that human beings do these days, and across services and across the working sector. I don't know where that leaves working people, in a generation's time. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is scary again. I mean, you just think of reskilling in a knowledge economy, but there is no doubt that AI will take over. I mean, art departments right now, you can see jobs being lost, even in animation, for instance, because AI has suddenly become this powerful workhorse again, is doing things we didn't think were possible even 5 years ago. I mean, 2 years ago, this chat GPT, a lesser known version of it, passed every exam there is, the bar exam, the legal New York State, lawyer exam. It's passed everything.
That's amazing. So then our regional colleges, our higher education, our universities will say, well, why are we teaching lawyers if in 20 years the computer will be your lawyer? Why do we need to invest in human beings and create them as lawyers? Will we all end up, Kevin, with no jobs?
I don't think so. I think that we will need skilled people to be able to inform, to do what we call prompt engineering, for instance, as well. But there are definitely some jobs, and already in the last few months we're seeing them being, just like I said about art, for instance, again, in art departments as well. Because why would you have someone being paid and everything else when you can literally generate it yourself?
But it's for services too. So say, for example, they get so good that they'll understand everything about insurance and they'll do everything that you do on the half-hour call every year with the insurance person. So, I mean, it's stuff like insurance and leisure and services. You can see, God, I could see computers doing all of that. And I suppose that matters, Kevin.
Oh, of course it
What's
does.
going to be left for us to do? Apart from, you can't get, a computer couldn't cut your hair, could it? Computer couldn't make you fish and chip. Probably could.
There are hair cutting robots again, but I think for a good while, because it's one of the things where people... The high streets will never be as full as they are now, and we know how empty they are. And so everything is shutting down. We'll only be left with vape shops and butchers and hairdressers, I've always maintained, because there is that kind of like going to, people like going to a hairdresser actually and having that
Human interaction.
But
Stuff will remain.
There is
won't
very few jobs I can't think of that can't be
it?
replaced.
Can't be. God. I bet you they asked these questions, when the machines were doing the spinning of yarn, and you're going, oh, God, sure, our grandmothers and our grandfathers did all that stuff by hand. But it happened, Kevin. I suppose everything changes, but never on this unimaginable kind of a scale.
No,
it's history probably.
Yeah, it's very hard to explain to someone non-technical again what's different here, but AI really has become so powerful.
Yeah, in the EU, the Commission has published proposals for all sorts of regulations titled the Artificial Intelligence Act, would have a broader scope than all sorts of other stuff. The Europeans are going for it, Kevin, but we're not. No regulation or no regulator.
Yes, but a lot of countries are still in the early things. We've known about this for years within our community. Responsible AI, we simply call it, the umbrella term as well. Because it's cross-cutting. In other words, it's general AI again. So we've had narrow AI for years, where something can do something very, very focused, like a task. And your general robot, you can nearly say they're narrow AI again. But general AI is where it becomes almost universal and replicates a human again. So that Turing test has passed already.
Turing test. Back to that. Good one.
But that's why it's going to be left with the existing kind of authorities again, which regulate consumer authorities as well, because it does go. It cuts across medical diagnosis as well. So everything, and we need to be able to protect the public.
Appreciate it as always, Kevin. Thank you for that here in studio. Kevin Curran, who's the Professor of Cybersecurity at the Ulster University. Now the time is 2:00.
BBC News at 2:00.